Hello, hello. We are live with Death Unto Madness. This is episode 5. I'm here with every member of our lovely cast. Glad you're back, Maria, as Ophelia. We missed you. I've just missed the game in general, too, because it's been like 3 weeks since we played at all. So I'm excited to get back to the world of whatever the heck I called this world. I literally don't even remember. I think I named it, right? I probably named it. I don't know what it's called.
I think you did.
I forget, too.
Probably did. It's honestly probably in this chat somewhere. But anyway, I am excited to play again, but I am positive none of us remember what happened last. So let's go ahead and give a quick recap. I just kind of scanned through the last episode and got some notes from Carly to help me kind of fill in the rest. And so I think I have a pretty good idea of what happened last, but if any of you remember anything, feel free to pipe in. So when we last left our heroes on Death Unto Madness, I say heroes, I don't know. Ophelia's definitely not a hero.
An anti-hero.
Yeah, she's very much a villain. She's not even an anti-hero. She's just straight up an antagonist. Like, I'm just telling the truth.
Maybe I'm not the hero here.
Sure, right. But I feel like Cyrillus.
He
honestly,
wants to be a hero, but he keeps failing roles.
I don't know. Alpheus, Cyrillus, and Avra all seem like people who want to be good people, who want to be heroic in some way, shape, or form, whatever their context is. But I feel like all of them have fatal flaws that will prevent them from being truly heroic. I mean, Cyrillus does kind of work for one of the worst people to exist in this setting, so kind of puts him down right there.
At least I'm consistent.
No, you're right.
Consistently creepy.
You're consistently horrific, Ophelia, but at least you're consistent.
Fatal flaw because they're all equally.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on our definition of fatal flaw.
Everybody around me.
If fatal flaw is like the thing that will keep you from completing your goal, I don't think Ophelia has that. But her goals are absolutely horrific. So, all right. So if I remember correctly, last time Avra was proposed to by Lord Soter, who is the most slime ball of all slime balls in the city. So Avra quickly shut that down and slapped him in the face. Failed an etiquette roll to get away with slapping him in the face, and now is enemies with the third most powerful person in the city. She being the second most powerful person, but only probably by a little bit. So that'll be interesting. Cyrillus and Alpheus also were seeking information in the Kyrides quarter about what the heck is going on with this attempt against the king's life. And they ended up talking to a fruit merchant. There's some interesting conversation there, but eventually they were led to a guy named Titan, who was supposedly, I think initially you got the sense that he was like a Kyrides. I think initially the information you were given was it was a Kyrides spy who was working in the city to overthrow the king, or something maybe not that intense, but like he was like maybe someone to watch for, like be like maybe he knows about the Kyrides plot because he's he's working for the Kyrides and maybe he's a bad guy. But then you talk to him and he was like, just testing you, Cyrillus. I actually don't want a secret passage into the palace. I am actually a double agent. I was working in Kyrides and I came back and I'm actually working for the king and I have some information. Don't worry about the Kyrides. They're all good. They're not the ones trying to kill the king. And so everyone was like, great, awesome. We got this cool spy on our side. Also, by the way, Joe Manganiello is the guy who plays Titan. I seriously do not know, still do not know how to pronounce his last name. I attempted there. But, and then he took Alpheus aside because this is what happened. I just was getting through it. Alpheus was like, okay, like the thing I care about most in this whole situation is my people. So, I mean, I'm going to do what is right for my people. And it kind of rubbed Cyrillus the wrong way a little bit. And he was like, wait a second, we're working for the king. And so Titan suggested, he's like, listen, Cyrillus, I'll take him out back. I'll take him to the alley, and I'll question him. I'll do some intimidation. I'll do my spy stuff, and I'll get him to talk. I'll make sure he's on our side and not some secret, person who's going to try to just bring down the king. I think what he actually did is he talked to Alpheus and was like, hey, I can sense that you don't like the king. I also don't like the king. I'm actually a triple agent, and I am working with the Kyrites to assassinate the king. Do you want to help? And Alpheus basically says something along the lines of like, I'm not sure yet, but, and I don't remember if it was like you were like pretended to be on his side or was just like, maybe I'll help you. It was something like one of those two. Do you remember, Chad? You're muted if you're trying to say something.
I don't remember what I said because I don't think I would have passed the lying roll.
That's fair. Let's see what the last rolls here were. Did you make a roll of any sort? The last rolls you made were drinking and resources, which I don't believe were rolls against Titan. So yeah, I imagine you probably just told him the truth and said, I don't know. And then I think your plan was you're going to play both sides for as long as possible until you have to make a decision between helping Cyrillus and helping Titan. But Titan he didn't kill you in the alley. He didn't say, oh, you're going to expose me, because I think he can still win you over. He thinks he can still win you over. So he's going to work on you. But Cyrillus doesn't know any of this, because Titan successfully lied to him in the upstart. And the other thing that happened with Avra is Avra was talking with Caledon, and Caledon was like, hey, I need your help with this thing, and then maybe I'll help you with your thing. And she was like, okay, sounds good, I like you. And Caledon was like, hey, so we need a new high priest at Pyrrhus, because the sea trade is going crazy, and this proper sacrifices aren't happening, so everyone's afraid to go on the ocean. So we need to talk to the new high priest of Artos, the new apparently patron god of the city, according to the god king, or the prophet king rather. And we need to convince that guy to be like, hey, you, random citizen, are the new high priest of Pyrrhus. And there you go. Now everything's fixed, because we actually have a person who's in charge, and they can do the sacrifices again. And at first, this guy, Croesus, that new high priest, was like, Avra, this is what I'll do. If I do that for you, then will you worship Aratos for me? Will you swear your allegiance to the new god? And you're like, hey, listen, I'm a worshiper of Pyrrhus. I'm not about that life. And then Caledon, with a good persuasion roll, convinced, I think it was maybe an oratory roll, convinced Croesus to be like, hey, listen, that might be too much too fast. We should probably go slower. If your goal is to make sure that people are worshiping Aratos, the patron god of the city, causing this much of a stir this early on probably isn't a good idea. Also, if you just help the city get back on track, people will like Aratos better because you helped them out. You helped the sea trade, even when it doesn't necessarily directly benefit you. And he convinced Croesus to be like, all right, sounds good. I will appoint a new high priest of Pyrrhus, and I'm going to keep working on you guys, because you're both going to be worshiping Aratos before the end of the year. And then he did the whole eyes, I'm watching you thing as he walked out of the room. And that is a highly embellished recounting of what happened last session. As far as what happened with Ophelia last time we were talking with you, I believe you scared the crap out of some poor farmhand and convinced him to join your cult because he likes the other girl that's in your cult right now.
Yeah, didn't I rip his ego to shreds and then remold it into what I wanted? And he was like, all right.
Yep, basically. I mean, let's be real. I think mainly this guy was very sex crazed, and he really wanted to get with that girl that he's had his eye on, and he's like, this is the way I can do it. I actually hate my life anyway, so here we go.
I'm so nice.
I know, you're very nice, very nice. Yeah, except for the part where he's probably going to end up being some sort of sacrifice by the end of this. It's fine. Yeah, shh, don't tell anyone. But anyway, now that that's all out of the way, let's go ahead and go through our beliefs and instincts and get to remind ourselves who these characters are. And feel free, because it's been a little while. If you're looking at your beliefs and you're like, maybe I should change something after that recap. I think I'm going to change it slightly. Feel free to do so now, and we can talk about it. But let's start with Alpheus, played by Andrew Garfield, of course. And let's talk about his beliefs, shall we? Beliefs, instincts, and traits, rather.
There they are.
Yeah, there you go.
My people, these are my beliefs. My people, here, let me move it to this screen. My people are my highest priority. I will oppose anyone who disgraces us. The working class needs to be guaranteed protection from outside militaries, and I will use my status as a politician to see that this happens.
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that the king only cares about himself and his top advisors, and I will see that justice is done for what happened to my family. My instincts are, if those I've lost are mentioned, then I will grow angry. I always treat others of the lower classes with respect, and I always act deferential to those in power. And which traits do I read off?
Just all of them.
Strong-willed, cramped hands, pragmatic, religious. Oh, not those three, right? Or intellectual, competitive.
All four of these characters, all four of these characters have religious, intellectual, and competitive as
and
their
driven.
cultural traits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Broken and driven. Yeah. Cool. Searless, played by Chris Evans. You muted.
Beliefs. The king is not well, but he should not be killed. Even if he needs to go, I will defend him with my life. The sea industry needs more support, and so I will attempt to convince the king to provide it. And politicians cannot be trusted. Oh, politicians cannot be trusted. So I will investigate the conspirators against the king.
Too bad you don't know that the main conspirator against the king is actually helping you right now to investigate the conspirators against the king.
If I go to an establishment, then I will order a drink. If someone I am with refuses a drink, then I will chide them about it. If someone other than royal blood works in politics, I will question everything they say.
I'm still surprised that you haven't questioned everything that Alpheus has said. You just kind of accepted him.
It's because I was drinking with them.
It's true. No. Yeah,
I'm a bad actor.
I think it makes sense. I mean, anyone who will drink with you probably puts them up a couple pegs in your book. So even someone as bad as drinking as Alpheus.
True.
What are your traits?
Veneer of obedience, drunk, iron stomach, and sea legs.
Nice. I need to poison you or something, because you got to test that iron stomach out. That'll be great.
Okay.
I'm legitimately so glad that Titan succeeded on that falsehood roll, because it would have changed everything if he had not. I was so happy because I had planned this character, and I'm glad that he actually is fulfilling the role I meant for him, and not just got stabbed in a bar by you the first time you met him.
That would have been more fun, though.
Well, for you, maybe. Yeah.
I would have actually won something for once.
Maybe. I mean, he has some skills too. He is an assassin. Ophelia, played by Cara Delevingne. Okay. I still need to change that picture. You sent me a new picture to change it to, and I forgot to do that. Yeah. Sorry, I'm the worst.
Delevingne, if you will. All right. So beliefs. I believe Avra must be protected. I will keep an eye on her with my raven. I believe Althea has extreme potential in the spiritual realm. I will train her in the ways of my gods. I believe I will kill the king on sight. I will avoid him at all costs. I believe my gods are not dead. I'll recruit another person to their cause. Instincts. I always choose an animal over a human. If my mother is mentioned, I fidget with knives. I love the way that's worded. And I always collect raven feathers and black orchids.
Yes. And the raven feathers were to give to your new cult members. Do we know what the black orchids are for?
I gave one to my
your old nursemaid.
Yeah. So maybe I give those to people I respect. And I give
And you give the feathers to the people you're going to abuse.
Oh,
Perfect. I love Ophelia's weird, twisted mind.
And I think I'll probably, like, black orchids I'll use a lot in, like, teas that I use potentially to, like, as me.
Sure.
Character traits, I am a speaker of the secret language.
Mm-hmm.
Cruel, lunatic, and loner. Faith in dead gods, mark of privilege, zealot, and lame. I forgot about the lame one.
Mm-hmm.
How did we
It's honestly the only thing that it does is affect something that doesn't really come up in Burning Wheel a lot, and it's like your stride. It only really comes up when you're actually like in a major combat. So it's basically you just have a little limp, just a slight limp.
that ruins my elegance.
We've already had this conversation. This is the price of power, Ophelia.
Okay. Forked tongue, as in falsehood, not a real forked tongue.
Yeah,
because-
unfortunately.
Is there a forked tongue option? Because that would fit my.
One of their traits is
Feel like there
abnormally
is.
long tongue. Mm-hmm. And this is the thing. I mean, technically, when we get to a point in the story where we feel like an arc has passed, like something major is maybe just finished up, we can do a trait vote, and someone can nominate you for abnormally long tongue if we think that that's Ophelia would have some sort of weird physical thing like that happen.
Forked tongue. I don't think it would be like if it was abnormally long, it would also need to be forked.
Yeah,
Because
that's
one or the other doesn't really work super great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a gross thought.
Mm-hmm.
What other thing? Did I miss something?
Nope, that's it. And last but not least, Avra, played by Natalie Portman, but more importantly, played by Carly Pinch. What's your stuff? Bits.
I believe I am in love. I will convince Celadon he can effect good by assuming the throne in marriage to me. I believe my father is ill by someone else's doing. I will investigate his mental decline. I believe I can be an accomplished falconer. I will impress the noble courts. My instincts. I always excuse myself from the room when in an intense coughing fit. I always have my falconry gloves on hand, and if someone less fortunate asks for something vital I could bestow, I offer it. And then my traits are your grace, boaster, formalist, religious, intellectual, competitive, birdie talk, and mark of privilege.
Very nice. All right, so I think obviously we have to open up with Ophelia because it's been a while since we've seen her.
Yeah.
Ophelia, I mean, what are you up to? What do you want to get up to? You got plenty of stuff to work on.
So I just abused that poor innocent boy child.
You did. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember where we were up to.
I don't think I need to make a character sheet for him. I haven't made the character sheet for him yet.
I haven't checked on Avra in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I was waiting for Althea to heal because I poisoned her.
Yeah, I mean, we can say that happened.
I was waiting for her to heal before I could like train her. So I think
Yeah.
I would do. And where's the boy? What's his name?
I'm sure we named him. Let me look in the chat. Perrin. We named him Perrin. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where he is currently because I crushed his life and then I don't know where I put him. Do we remember if he agreed to join me yet or
No,
like,
he did. Yeah. He's part of your cult for sure. Mm-hmm.
he had a little feather. A raven feather. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yep, all that happened for sure.
I don't know if he would be in my house or not.
Yeah, I mean, I know you put Althea in there, but yeah, where would you?
Like sit and stuff.
I mean, are you?
Together.
What was that?
I don't think I would leave them together
Right.
because I don't really want that to happen. So I don't know if maybe I have like a little hut that he could live in. I also need to Like, do you think I need to do the equivalent of the whole like testing Althea's um loyalty thing that I did, where I basically almost killed her?
Up to you. I mean, it really depends on whether or not like Althea is Althea going to be your like right hand person, or is everyone going to get more or less the same treatment as Althea? Like, is
I
she
don't know.
special?
I think she's my favorite, but I don't think she's my right hand because she's
Yeah.
kind of not
She's not there.
not there, and I need somebody who's there to be my right hand. So maybe I already forgot his name.
Perrin.
Aaron. I want to say Pepin.
That is a different character.
Um, so maybe he'll be my right hand. I'm not sure if I want a dude to be my right hand though.
I mean, you could wait for a more prime candidate to come along.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna treat them relatively the same, except for Althea, but she'll be treated like my small child.
Yeah, sure.
I'll be nicer to her even.
And so Perrin is going to be your estranged foster child that you don't actually love as much as your biological.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my stepson, I guess.
Basically, yeah.
So I think I won't do anything weird to him because I don't care as much.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring. Yeah. So I'm imagining you're probably going to end up with a little commune here, right? Before this is all over, like your cult is going to live like in the vicinity of your hut, but like not in your hut.
Yeah.
So this is I mean, honestly, I feel like maybe the first task you could give Perrin is like build himself a little hut.
I was just thinking that, like,
yeah, I think he has like mending as a skill.
that's just cruel enough to be like, I own you now. Build your own house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I'll do that.
Is that his like official test?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
all right.
send my Raven out to check on Avra.
Okay.
First, and then have him do all of that, and then by the time that's done, then maybe the Raven comes back and
yeah, sure. How did we talk about that before? Because I think the problem with this belief is that most of the work is going to be done by your Raven and not you. So I'm curious, like, and also I'm curious, like, what counts as like a fulfillment of that belief. Wait, I'm gonna need to open this up. Right, like I will keep an eye on her with my Raven. Like, how do you successfully do that? Like, you will kind of always do.
Maybe the next thing will be,
yeah, I feel like we should like maybe change the second part of that belief to be something more concrete.
Yeah, like maybe I find a way to communicate with her.
Oh, okay. I will make contact
so she can
with Avra.
What's his face? Skion, whatever his name is.
Who's Skion? Who do we say that guy was? Raven. Oh, you're Raven, right? Okay.
Raven is the snake, and Skion's the Raven.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Because that's what the birdie talk thing is, right? So Avra can talk to birds.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so.
And you can talk to your animal, so you could give your Raven a message to give to her.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so what's your goal there? Like, you want to make contact with Avra. What do you want her response to be? Like, what are you saying, and how do you want her to react to it?
That's what I was thinking. Is I don't know what she is particularly up to right now that I would care. Because mainly I'm just trying to protect her. So.
Well, she just recently made an enemy of the third most powerful noble in the kingdom.
But I want to be.
You're muted, Carlos, if you want to say something.
Like
I just said, I don't know if other people know that though.
Yeah, like.
But if her Raven is keeping an eye on you, then.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. What if I did something? What's the dude that you're in love with?
Celadon.
Yeah. What if I'm like, hey, he's a bad man.
Oh no.
Like, yeah, that's not gonna go over well.
No.
No offense.
You should.
Bird lands in the windowsill. Hey, he's a bad man.
Yeah, that'll go over real well.
I could write a little like.
Real quick, didn't we decide that ravens were like bad omens or something in the society? Like.
They're always bad omens.
They are, yeah, obviously, but isn't that specifically true in this world as well?
Yeah, because they're black and they don't have fancy, pretty colors. Like
yeah.
birds. And ravens, I think, are probably prone to murdering the other birds.
Probably.
Murder.
I don't know if. Well, it depends on how big this crow is.
He matches the size. We established that.
Okay, right.
Your boy.
Yes, yeah. This is like this world's
Falcon
version of a
size.
raven,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like the weird, enlarged, crazy animals. Yeah.
Should we change his appearance and make him have a color, like on the tips of his fingers or feathers?
Now just imagining the hand at the end of it. Like,
Feathers, its fingers, and I've been giving raven fingers out.
yeah,
God.
instead of feathers, just a finger hanging off of his skin like a feather. That's terrifying.
But like the very tips of his feathers could be like a really deep red, like a blood.
Sure.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think I like that a little bit.
Neato. Distinguishes him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now maybe none of the other ravens do that, but mine
Yeah.
does. Magical. So maybe. Well, okay. Is it possible for what's his name?
Caledon.
Peladon? Yeah. Is it even in the realm of possibility for him to not be a cool person? Like,
I
Is that
mean, he's not a perfect human being. I mean, like the main thing that he's not been good with so far in the campaign is like he's an idealist, but he believes that if he actually got involved and married Avra, that he would be like he would compromise and he would like become part of a system that he wants to change from the outside and not be a part of. And so, the bad thing about him could be that he is basically a wuss, right? That he's a coward. He won't stand up for what he should do.
I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, here's the new plan. My new goal with that first one, like my Avra related goal, is
Yeah.
I want to protect her, but I also know that she's stronger than she thinks she is. So I'm gonna say, hey, you need to take the throne yourself and not try to don't get married and have some other dude take advantage of being married to you and he's now the king. Like, why don't you just be the queen and chill out a little bit? So I'm going to try to convince you to not worry about getting married and to just be the ruler.
So what about this as the belief, the second part? I will make contact with Avra and convince her to take her fate into her own hands.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a question I was going to ask and now I've already forgotten. So you're going to send your raven to communicate this to her. This is the question. Avra, do you know that Ophelia's alive? I don't think you do.
I don't think so, because I have in my notes from last session that she was gonna look into her sister's disappearance.
Right. Right.
So I don't I think she's like, oh, maybe she's out there, because I haven't really thought that much about it. But
yeah, I feel like there was something that got said last session or the session before that maybe put you on that track. I don't remember what it was. Though. I'll have to listen back through and find that out. But yeah, I mean, you have at least have an inkling that she might be, but you don't know. Okay, I mean, yeah. So I feel you can definitely try that. I guess the question is, Avra, how receptive would you be to any part of that request or persuasion? So Ophelia, it's basically like you need to take your fate into your own hands and like push for power, become the queen, take over.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if Avra even cares about having power herself. Cause like my instinct with this character, because I feel like it's just my instinct with every character, because it's just me, is to be like, oh no, she doesn't actually care about having power. But I feel like this is the one character out of all of the ones I made that like would care at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Really good guidance.
Yeah, I mean, the real question is Avra the original Jasmine, or is she the reboot Jasmine?
I don't know what that means.
From Aladdin, like is
yeah,
she,
but I don't know what you mean by reboot Jasmine.
No, so in the reboot, she's like a super hardcore feminist and like wants to become the Sultan. And in the original, she's just like, I want freedom. I don't want to be,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Well, she's definitely not a hardcore feminist because she wants to get married.
Yeah.
But well, I should say specifically she wants to get married to a guy. Anyway, that was not that funny, but okay.
It was biting.
I feel like she would be susceptible enough to the persuasion for it to not be a complete waste to actually try to do that. I just don't know if, like, I'm trying to think of how, as a character, I would deal with that.
I mean, maybe let's say this. What if Ophelia? What if the first step here is to just convince her to like literally meet with you and like, you know, give you a chance to like explain this to her.
Yeah, I already have a little bit of a poem for her. To...
Heck.
Because I feel like that's something concrete you could convince her of now. That wouldn't be like the whole biscuit, right? Like just come and meet with me. Just come and talk to me. Your beloved estranged sister who never truly knew. I have a proposition for you.
Yeah. No, nothing rhymes with that. I'm trying to like, because I feel like it'd be really cool if I had.
Is the Raven going to give her the poem?
Yeah.
Nice.
Is he gonna speak it or deliver it?
He's gonna speak it.
He gonna speak it. Oh yeah.
He's gonna speak it to you. So I'm wondering. I wrote this one, but it might need to wait for later because it's a little bit involves something else I have planned for later. And it might freak her out and scare her off and make her not want to see me. So I'm wondering if I should still have Skion say this part, and then.
I mean, yeah, you could tell her the gist of what you want, and then say,
just meet with me.
Just meet with me. Yeah, just let me talk to you.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's honestly probably a better idea than, hey, I'm your long lost sister. I'm actually alive. Come meet me in the dark woods. I'm not telling you anything about what it's about. I just want you to meet me.
Okay. Here we go.
I heard that honk on so many levels.
Okay, so. Okay, I have this. I don't know what to do with that. I have the poem that he's going to say to her now. It's not going to make any sense to anybody but me, except for the last part. It's fine. So do I need to do anything?
Yeah, I mean, let's have you just like explain this to us, like describe what's happening, and then you can tell us what the Raven says to her, and then we can make the roll.
Okay, so.
So is this like Avra's like in her like personal quarters, and the Raven comes to the window?
Yeah, and this will be in the morning, like really early in the morning. Like are you an early riser as Avra?
Good question, because I mean the sky pretty much looks the same all the time, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. It honestly doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's always
like,
kind of like perpetually almost twilight in this region of the planet. I guess the real question is, does she sleep a lot or a little?
It doesn't matter. My bird will wake her up.
Yeah.
Chilling in her room, doing whatever she does. And then I feel like I need to give you a hint that it's me. So was there something in our childhood that you'd remember? Like something I could like.
How old was I when you got banished?
I don't know.
I don't remember that.
Good question. I believe you were like somewhere between like 6 and 9.
Okay, so I would actually remember stuff.
maybe every single
Or
time.
wait, how much older are you, Ophelia? So she's 22
I'm
and you were 25. Okay, so you're only 3 years older than her.
so
But would you real quick, I'm gonna double check this because we should be able to know from your. Oh, you were 8, Ophelia, when you got kicked out. So she was 5.
okay.
Okay.
She's not gonna remember a whole lot about me.
No.
How about this? Instead of doing that, she knows it's her long lost sister thing. Can we make up something about the past a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
my Raven has been chilling with her for a very long time, and every single time he visits her, he has an orchid. And so, but Aver doesn't know that it's me. She just one day looked out her window and saw a raven, and I feel like there's a little bit of curiosity in this character, maybe, that she would not flip out about the fact that there was a raven and started talking to it, and thinks that the raven is its own like entity and not tied to any person, and it's just hanging out. So she's befriended this raven and trusts the raven specifically, and now she's gonna come to realize, oh, somebody might, like, there's more going
This
on
has
here.
actually been secretly someone else pulling the strings of the Raven the whole time.
Yeah, but she still trusts the raven enough that she'll follow the instruction to meet with this other person.
I mean, yeah, that's the question, Avra. Like, do you follow the superstition against ravens? Do you like all birds? I know you're obsessed with your bird and like the idea of birding specifically, right? Like the falconry stuff.
Yeah, I think less than trust the raven, she would just be really intrigued by it because she's probably never seen one like it before, like with the specific red on its feathers. So she's probably just curious and she like observes it, but she's never like gotten super close to it. Like I think that makes more sense.
Yeah. So it's been like almost like a bird watching thing for you. You're just
Yeah.
like, this raven is always hanging out with me and nearby, and this is so interesting, but like never really. Yeah.
I like the idea of it bringing her orchids, though.
Yeah.
Like maybe he'll fly onto her windowsill, leave an orchid, and then fly off a little bit so she can still see him. And she has like, I feel like it would be so cute to have like collected all these orchids and dried them, and just have them, and you have no idea what it means at all. Because
I feel like Alikos definitely doesn't like the raven.
Oh, he definitely does not like Scion at all.
Scion's a good boy. Point being,
He's a good boy in your estimation, Ophelia, which actually makes him evil.
don't diss my raven, man. Anyway, so Scion, we still have morning. It just doesn't look like morning. It's early in the day. And he goes to Aver's windowsill and like pecks. Is there glass or is it just open? He'll peck either on the glass or on the side of the hole. He'll make a sound to get her attention.
Yeah.
Drops an orchid like into her room and then just like stares at her.
Yeah, this time it doesn't fly away. It just stays right by the orchid. Yeah.
Super, super still, like not dirty, like just like stares. And Aver's a little bit flipped out, probably, but doesn't leave. Sorry, really weird sounds. But like doesn't leave so that she doesn't like run out of the room otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, she probably has a mini staring contest with the bird for a sec. She's just like, what the heck do you want?
Yeah, and I don't know that this bird I don't think you're expecting him to talk.
Probably not.
So, well, this is the thing. Avra has the magical ability to speak with birds. She can,
Yeah, but I feel like there should be like different like intellectual abilities between different bird species. So I feel like with a crow, maybe she doesn't know a whole lot about what crows actually are like, and so she's like,
well, you certainly
this probably isn't a very smart bird.
Yeah, I was gonna say
maybe it doesn't know how to speak to me.
They're like black cats, right? Like nobody likes them, and so I think that would be a common thing to just believe. Yeah, crows are stupid.
And even if she knows that crows are smart, she'd probably just be like, well, I don't really want to talk to it.
And I feel like with Scion's personality, I feel like he's kind of playful, and so I feel like her only interaction with him has seen him as kind of like a dumb puppy.
Yeah.
because he's just been bringing you flowers and then just
Mm-hmm.
and going. And this time, Skeon's like, okay, we're starting something. Now I have to be serious. And so it really throws you off because he stays there and he's super still and not doing like the talking weird, like playful movements. So it's freaking you out a little bit, but you listen. Should I read this? A little.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to read it in his voice, obviously.
Oh.
You don't have to if you don't want to, but.
I don't even know what he sounds like because he could be the typical like croaky rape voice. But I almost feel like
this is the thing. That would be if the Raven is speaking in human languages, but he's speaking bird. He's speaking in the language of birds, and so Avra is going to hear it as if it's this whatever, even delicate, fine voice, whatever it's whatever his voice would sound like speaking in his native tongue.
It's not going to be rough like the Raven to sound. I feel like it's going to be. I feel like it would. This is so barfully poetic, but it's literally the only way I can think of to describe this. I feel like it's like if you imagine what the voice of like thousands of miles under the sea, like if thousands of miles under the sea had a voice, it would be Skeon's voice. So like super like deep but liquidy, and it just kind of is like
kind of mysterious.
Yeah, and it's not loud, but it fills up the room in like a really unexplainable way.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of voice where you can feel it in your sternum, when you have that certain sound that like vibrates your sternum a little bit, like really loud bass music. It does that.
So basically your Raven sounds like a demon.
Sexy demon.
but a sexy demon. Yep, there we go. Yep.
Yikes.
That is a very apt description, Maria. Thank you.
Skeon is a sexy demon. That's what we've.
Yikes.
Okay. So this is a really bad poem, but I wrote it just now while I wasn't very focused. And it means, I'll explain it, maybe. We'll see. Okay. Matrimony is brittle, truly it is fickle. Come trace the stone and take your own stone. Remember who I am, remember, kill the lamb. Follow the bird at hour the third. So the last bit is that she has to...
It's just something I made up just now. It's probably going to be bad. Wasn't paying attention.
I don't like it because all the punctuation is at the end of each line and it brings out the rhyme, and I don't like rhymes. But that's okay.
You literally just did a rhyme when you said that. Punctuation is at the end of the line and it brings out the rhyme.
Slant rhyme, but it works.
I'm losing my mind. But also
I'm losing my mind.
I can't stop. Okay. So the last bit is obviously like my Raven's gonna come to you at 3 a.m. tonight.
There's no night, yeah, but
it's when people sleep. Like it's
there's probably a normal sleep pattern that the people of this world follow.
Yeah, so
yeah.
And I'm asking you to follow him. As far as the other parts go, the matrimony bit and the take your own throne part, that's my whole plan to make you not get married. The follow the stone and killing the lamb part, I'm not going to explain. That'll be later. And then the remember who I am is the little treat that it's me.
So, I think Ophelia, you're going to make some sort of roll here to convince her. I mean, it's probably honestly an oratory roll. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. You just made a freaking poem. It's not poetry, because I want to be nice to you. But yeah, I think you're trying to convince them with like a pretty speech. So, Avra, your will is 5. Do you think it would be any higher or lower than that?
Probably not. I feel like that's high.
5 is good. Yeah. Okay, so oratory. Do you have anything you want to try to work?
Okay, technically um because of the follow the stone and kill the lamb part, that has to do with a plan I have later involving my cult.
So there's some ulterior motives here to get her to come?
Well, there's just another plan that I have. So plan A is so I want her to have the throne alone.
You did it again. You rhymed again.
Did I rhyme?
Yeah.
Okay. I want her to take the throne, so that I also kind of want her in my cult really bad, a little bit, because I feel like that'd be sweet. So that's the kind of ulterior motive of like, because then my cult gets to kind of also, because my god is dead. I'm sorry, I'm not finishing any sentences. I'm really scatterbrained.
You're good.
But if everything goes my way, Avra will become the, I guess, prophet queen.
Yeah.
But she will be tied to my cult, so the god will be my god. So I want her to not have a husband in the mix, because then I'm gonna have to kill him.
So, yeah, I think that's enough for a falsehood fork.
So, okay.
And then if you wanted to, you could fork you could do the extra astrology die if you want to tempt fate. I'm not sure anything else really comes into play here. Because, like, Avra is an occultist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to add the extra astrology die too?
I'm not sure if that would heretical doctrine fit with that or no.
Well, the issue here is that I don't think any of that will have an effect on Avra, right? Like, you knowing all of this stuff about the gods and cults and all that stuff, it's not going to help you convince Avra to come,
Okay.
right? Being good at deception and oratory both will.
Okay.
But I'm not sure anything else will, except for astrology, which you can use to just be like, tempt fate. Maybe I'll be lucky, sort of thing. But at that point, so if you're not doing the astrology dice, you're rolling 5 dice against a 5 ob, which is going to be sort of difficult.
Okay. So I should probably do this?
Probably, yeah. I think it's probably safe. The other thing I was just going to ask, Avra, do you think that it coming from this bird would give a bonus die?
You like it?
Because you're such a bird person.
I guess so.
He's
Okay.
giving you bonus power.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so then this is what you're looking at, Ophelia. You're looking at 2 modifiers that you're going to put in. So you're going to click on oratory.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember this.
I know, yeah. I'm going to walk you through it. Yeah, so you're going to click on oratory. You can put in 2 for modifiers.
2. Got it.
And then you can click submit. And then if you want to, you have 2 persona. Remember, it's good to keep 1 around because you might die. And if you do, you can use persona to not die. But you could spend 1 if you wanted to, right? Like to get an extra die.
Yeah. Should I save that for
Yeah, you still. I mean, the only issue is that this roll is difficult enough that.
Oh yeah, Perrin's probably a weakling, so I probably won't need help destroying him later.
Right, because if you don't convince Avra to come now, like, you're gonna have to escalate in some way, and it's probably gonna be more difficult in the future to convince Avra to do any of this.
Yeah,
So this is a pretty important roll.
Yeah. So I put 1 in Artha, right?
Yeah, you put 1 on Artha if you wanted to do that. Yeah.
The obstacle's 5?
Obstacle is 5. And then after you make the roll, then you roll an extra d6 for the astrology. Ooh, man, and no 6s. Okay, that's rough. But, I mean, go ahead and roll a 1d6. So you can do that by going in the chat and then clicking /R space 1d6. Okay, so that's another success. This is looking good for you. You have basically a 50-50 chance at this point. If you want to spend 1 fate, you can reroll 1 failed dice. Actually, no, you're not. Yeah, I was gonna say you have forked tongue, but you're not actually rolling deception. Or falsehood. You're rolling oratory, so you can't use that. But you can spend 1 fate to reroll 1 die, and then basically you have a 50-50 shot at making it.
Well, I have no other choice.
Yeah.
So.
It's probably important enough to do it. And you have 6 fate, so.
Yeah. So do I just do the...
Just the 1d6 again, yep. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
And then change fate.
Yeah, so you can change fate to 5, and then I'm going to go ahead and put those that you just spent in oratory for you. And then you marked a difficult test, so I'll mark that for you as well. You need 1 more difficult test and 2 more routine tests to advance oratory. Okay. So keep working at it, and you will be even better at giving flowery speeches.
Yay.
Awesome, cool. So Avra, yeah, I mean, you're convinced to at least go meet with whoever gave you this cryptic message. What does that look like? Like... Yes. I mean, both of you, right? Like, Ophelia, where did you say to meet her? Did you specify?
So I said, follow the bird.
Oh, follow the... Yeah, of course.
He's going to come back, and she has to follow him.
Okay.
But he's going to lead her someplace.
Yeah, where would he lead her? What does this look like?
Well, I don't want to freak her out too much and bring her, like...
Deep into the dark woods, yeah.
So...
Wait a second. Did we ever decide where you actually are on this map?
No.
Because I feel like you're probably not over here. Because that's a distance. That's a ways away. So there's probably probably in the mountains.
Yeah.
There's like a forest. That probably makes sense.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, yeah, telling her to go up into the mountains, into the forest. If you want to do it. But I don't know where you want her to meet, so.
Can we meet by the ocean?
Mm-hmm.
Secluded. Like, I'd want there to be like a big outcropping of rock that like the waves crash up against.
Of course, yeah. Dramatically, yeah.
And like I'll be sitting at the edge of the outcropping that's like way above the water.
Right.
I'll sit on the end of it with my legs over it. That's what I do. And
lit.
Yeah, and Skiano.
Okay, so Avra, the question is, do you go alone?
Ooh.
I mean, she definitely brings Alikos.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah.
That's your bird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they become friends. That'd be cool.
Oh, I'm trying to think of if she would try to drag Celadon into this. Because she'd be like, I don't know what's happening.
Man, that would be such a trip because... like, that's exactly the person Ophelia doesn't want you to be around anymore.
Right.
This is our grand reunion. Come on. You gotta be adventurous.
But I feel like she doesn't have enough of a hint
to immediately know.
Think that it's you.
Say that again, Maria.
The only hint that you have is remember who I am.
Right. And also she hasn't seen her sister in years, so she's like, I don't know if this is a dangerous thing or because like she knows that her sister was banished. So
yeah, I mean the note's definitely the little poem is very concerning. I probably should have specified in there that you have to come alone. Because that's definitely what I wanted. But I didn't specify that at all.
That
I mean,
also makes it more ominous.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that Skion refuses to bring her if she doesn't go
I
alone.
would let the bird come.
Yeah.
So maybe you try to bring somebody else and I start like pecking at him. Or not that Skion does.
I mean, but yeah, letting Celadon know about this whole situation would be a whole other thing because he would be like,
Yeah.
this is a horrible idea. You should not do this.
Yeah. And I think for that reason she doesn't tell him.
Yeah.
Because she's like, well, this is like my one possible shot at figuring out something of what's going on around here. Like, I don't know exactly what this is about, but maybe this will help me.
What's honestly awesome about this too is Ophelia's probably like the perfect person to figure out, mainly just because I know what's going on with the king. She's the perfect person to figure out what's going on with him.
Right.
So like if you can get her roped into that somehow and help you with that, that would be really good.
Yep. I will because I love you.
Mm-hmm. Probably in an unhealthy way, but she does.
Fine. Like, I'd die for you. No, I'd kill for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, Avra, you go alone then, with except for Alikos.
Yeah.
30 times.
Okay. Cool. I mean, probably what happens, right, is like a guard as you're like leaving the royal palace just like asks like, "And where are you off to, Lady Avra?"
I mean, she's probably just like, I'm gonna go sit by the water for a bit.
All right. Do you want us to send a contingent with you? Actually, no. I think he just assumes. He's like, all right, I'll get 2 of my men to come with you then.
She just like waves her hand. And she's like, it's not necessary. Alikos is with me.
Yeah, and he kind of frowns a little bit, and he's
And
like,
Alikos stares at him very intently.
so I think I want you to make a roll here, not because he's going to refuse you, because obviously you can't do that. But I think he's going to make a deal about, he'll probably tell someone.
Right.
If you don't like convince him that this is just a nothing. It's like, yeah, don't worry about it, sort of thing. So what would you say to like kind of put him at ease that this is just no big deal?
Could it just be something that Alikos does?
No, because you can't make a roll for that, really.
Yeah.
Like that can also obviously be part of it. But like if your whole role is to have Alikos stare at them, actually wait a second.
I was gonna
you can make a falconry roll.
Like, right.
Yeah, you have a skill. You have a skill for that. Sure. Yeah. I just realized that. Yeah. Yeah. Be intimidating, Alikos.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good to me. Let's say it's an up 3.
I work in animal husbandry.
No, because that's like the raising of animals.
Oh, okay.
I think if you wanted to, I mean, you said some stuff too, so you can fork in your soothing platitudes, I think.
Okay.
Right, because you're just like trying to put him at ease, and then Alikos stares at him, right? And it's a combination of both those things. Do you want to just roll a d6 for me quick?
Sure.
Yeah, roll a die of fate. I'm curious about something.
I'm so scared. Oh no.
Oh no, that's perfect. That's actually the only like the die of fate is if I'm not sure about something, I have you roll a d6, and on a 1, well, the thing I was thinking about is true. So you can also fork in noble wise because this guy happens to be a minor noble, who is part of the royal guard. So you know how to deal with him. One time I had someone, I was doing a Burning Wheel campaign, and I had someone roll the die of fate to basically like figure out if a door was open. He was trying to assassinate someone, and figure out like if a door just happened to be like left open, and it was. It's like a 1 in 6 chance. It was, and that was basically all he needed to literally like assassinate the main villain of like the whole game. It was very interesting. I was like, wow, okay, that's not usually what happens with these rolls.
I failed.
Yeah, so wow, and no 6s. And you could spend a fate if you wanted to. It would be a 1 in 12 chance because you'd have to roll a 6 and then another success. Yeah, you only have 1 fate. Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what this means is this guy will let someone know. So this will come back to bite you in some way. You're not entirely sure how, but you see the look in his eyes, and you're like, ugh, crap, like this is on his radar now, sort of thing. But yeah, you can still go if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you make your way to the ocean, and Ophelia's being a creeper. You probably wouldn't recognize her, but yeah, creepy woman. I mean, would you describe Ophelia for us again, Maria?
Okay, yeah. So she is like the tall, thin. She's basically the female version of Isaac. I just realized because she's tall and skinny and lanky and has black hair. And
is that all Isaac is to you? Just a skull, a tall, skinny, lanky dude with black hair.
That's all I care about. And she wears. Didn't she wear black? I feel like she wore black, and then white.
I think so. Yeah, when you're praying, you're wearing white. Yeah.
So I'll be in black, and I mean, I feel like this character is beautiful, but in an unconventional way. Like it wouldn't be like if you saw her walking down the street, you'd be like, "That's a supermodel." But like when you're close and you like actually look at her, you'd be like, "Oh, heck." Because what color were her eyes? I feel like weren't they?
I don't remember.
I feel like they were like a really icy blue.
I think so, yeah.
And I had Skion and Vernon's eyes match, which is why I liked them and adopted them as my petlings. Anyway, so I don't know, because I always imagined her as being kind of elegant in the way that she moves and stuff, but also she's kind of rugged too.
Yeah, and she has a limp now, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide how she would be sitting. Is she be sitting like a kind of like a guy and being on the edge of the wall with her like
just dangling,
leaning forward, or if she'd be like upright with her legs like crossed over, you know? But before she was sitting crisscross, that's the only other time she sat was she was sitting crisscross. I'm thinking way too much about this.
I feel like that makes sense.
Yeah, I think she'd probably be sitting crisscross.
Yeah. And I'd have an orchid for Avra. But yeah, really, I think it's really long. Her hair is, I think it goes down to her waist probably.
Cool. Yeah, so however you approach and you see this gal. And does Skion like go and land on your shoulder?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm silent for sure. Maybe Avra's standing behind me, and I just like pat the ground right next to me, and then go like that, and just wait for her to sit. Like pat and maybe go like that, so she knows what I'm telling her to do.
She makes me so uncomfortable.
It would make pretty much anyone uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I would be super excited though. If I was in that position, I'd be like, cool, we're about to have some fun. Some witchy fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she walks over and sits down next to her. Yeah. She probably tries to sit more like properly than you are. Because she's probably wearing some kind of dress, so she probably just kind of like gets down on her knees and sits.
Oh. And then I'm still looking dead ahead, and I just hand her the orchid and put my hand back in my lap.
Okay. She takes it.
Yes. And at this point, I'm going to have Skion leave my shoulder and go down, like dive down by the like cliff face.
Yeah.
And come back with like a rock like this, actually. Like really smooth and black and this size in his beak, and I have him hand it to you. It'll come in later, don't worry about it. Because follow the stone that's in the poem.
Yeah, I think Avra just kind of looks at the stuff in her hands, and then she looks at you. And I'm assuming you're not looking at her, you're just like looking straight forward. Yeah. So she's just like, who are you?
That's
And then
fair.
I don't think I ever look at you. Not yet. I might later, but I think I don't even make a move to look at you yet. And
Ooh, actually, question. Do you look like our mom at all? Like, how much do you look like her?
an image of our mother, because that's why I got kicked out.
Right.
So I look
Right.
like identical.
Okay. So she probably doesn't ask that because she probably puts it together.
I mean, you might ask it in disbelief.
Right. Yeah, that's probably true.
Maybe. Do you think it is your mom? Like, do you think you're dealing with a ghost? Because you don't know that I'm a physical being. You haven't touched me. My ravens landed on my shoulder.
I mean that's a fair question. Are ghosts a part of this mythology in any substantial way? We haven't decided that.
Like, is
really.
that a thing that I would believe in?
You know what, Ophelia? This is a roll. Would you like to make a roll to decide if ghosts are real, or at the very least part of the mythology?
Okay.
You have so many skills that could help with this. I'm thinking the main two ones would be like cult doctrine or heretical doctrine.
What about demonology?
Or maybe demonology. Yeah. Are
Not,
ghosts just demons?
it wouldn't be bad. Or like it wouldn't be a cult or
Well, I guess let's do this. What do you want to be true, Ophelia? Or maybe just you, Maria, as a character or as a player.
I mean, it could go either way with some things that I have planned for later. I think
Because I think it would be a harder role to say ghosts are real.
yeah, I don't think that they are really with the whole dead god thing. I think that people don't really believe in them. And they're not they'll if things go my way, they'll come to play later, but I don't think that
Maybe ghosts can be real.
they can be, hopefully, because dead god.
So basically your role is just to be like, there's room in the mythology for this to exist.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can do demonology if you want to for that. And then you can fork in cult doctrine, God's wise, and heretical doctrine.
Okay, so 3 more.
And then if you want to, of course, you can do the extra astrology die. But I can give you the ob first before you decide. What are the obs for demonology? I've had a player roll that skill exactly once in all of the Brady Wheel campaigns I've played.
It's gonna happen a lot more.
I guess so. Yeah, it would be. It's gonna be an ob 2.
Okay, so 3 modifiers.
You gonna add the astrology die or no?
Can't that go bad?
Yeah, basically the idea is it works as a regular die, except if you get a 6, it automatically rerolls and you can get more successes. Or if you get a 1, it automatically rerolls and you could lose a success.
I'm not sure if this matters that much.
Might not, yeah.
Is obstacle 2 that bad?
Let's see, you're rolling 5 dice against an ob 2. Let's see what that is. That's a routine for you. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Okay, I'm not gonna do the astrology for this one.
Sounds good. There you go.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yay, room for ghosts.
Yeah, so go ahead and mark a routine test on your demonology there. So ghosts can be real in this mythology.
Yeah,
So
it would be outrageous for you to call me your mom.
But yeah, up to you, obviously. I don't know how Aver would be thinking about this, but that's one option.
It will make
Yeah.
out.
I feel like she's not a very
Superstitious person.
yeah, like I think she's religious, obviously, and I think she like actually believes in her religion. But I don't think that I don't think that that wouldn't be her first inclination anyway. Um
So does she just say, "Who are you?" and kind of have an idea of who you might be, of who Ophelia might be, or
I want her to say something more directly about the fact that she looks like her mom.
That's gonna make my knives out.
I know. I want that to happen. Uh what was the story with her mom again? Did she die and then Ophelia was banished?
yeah, basically what happened is your dad, like, she did something he didn't like, whether or not it was justified, and he killed her. And then because Ophelia
Do I know
looks
that?
looks
Do
so
I
much
know what
like
actually
her.
happened to my mom?
Well,
You
remember,
Go ahead.
I was playing with Avra in a river, and she like fell in or something and got like really sick. That's why she's so sickly. And I think
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
at that point was because our mom loved me because I was the firstborn from.
So he had two wives. You're the
Oh yeah, didn't we have different moms?
yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's what it was. So what happened was if you did that, Ophelia, if you push her in the river, that was like the last straw that was your father was like, all right, you're banished. Like I didn't even like you anyway.
I was nice. I was just playing, and she fell in, and I was distracted by probably an orchid.
So
Push her in.
so did Ophelia's mom die and then Ophelia was banished
Yeah.
because
Yep.
her mom wasn't
Yep.
standing in the way anymore of like keeping
No,
her
it
around?
it wasn't even that. It was literally like I think this is the order of the things that happened was Ophelia's mom did something that the dad didn't like. He either had her killed or killed her himself, and then he began to like Ophelia less and less because
Right.
she
Right.
reminded him of
Yeah.
her mom. And then when Ophelia pushed you in to the river, or on accident, got you basically bronchitis for the rest of your life. That was like the last straw of like him being like, yeah, I didn't like this girl anyway, and this is like an excuse that I can make to just banish her. Also, I love the idea, Maria, that you were distracted looking at a black orchid when this happened, because that ties up all of this so well. Because Avra probably, once she figures out who you are, that's what ties it all together for her.
Like if this was a movie, it would be like one of those scenes where it goes into like the person's memories, and there'll be a snapshot of me like bending over and picking up an orchid and smelling it right when she's going under the water.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so good.
So what I'm thinking, I would assume that there would have been some kind of painting made of his first wife at some point.
Mhm.
That maybe isn't displayed anymore, but maybe Avra saw it at one point.
Mhm.
And so I think she just kind of says, like, who are you? Like, you look so much like the painting.
Would I know what that means? Would I know what the painting is?
I mean, Ophelia's pretty smart. I feel like she could figure it out.
Like, would that be enough for me to start fidgeting?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Maybe just like a little bit of fidgeting, so she doesn't know it's a knife yet, unless she keeps talking about. Maybe I don't pull it out of its like.
You just start fiddling with the hilt, like as it's in your sheath. Yeah.
Yeah, which is the first time she's seen me remotely flustered at all, because I've been super still, like staring forward.
Yeah, she maybe like just flinches a little bit. Like you see it on her face, like just she flinches a little bit, and then like it starts fiddling with.
Yeah.
I think I just go. Like maybe I look down at this point, like I stop my forward gaze and I look down. for a second and like take a really deep inhale and then like look over with my head still like down a little bit, and I look at her in the eyes and I go, little sister, sweet darling, you know who I am.
Ugh.
I hope that's Avra's reaction
to everything.
Okay, a quick question that came into my mind as you were saying that. So I'm just trying to figure out the timeline of all of this in my head. So
Yeah, I don't think we've ever finalized it, so yeah, it's a good time to do it.
So he killed her mom, and then I'm assuming like he married Avra's mom, and then after Avra was 5 years old,
Exactly.
then she
Yep.
banished. So it actually took him a while to actually banish
Exactly.
her.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, how is Avra a thing?
Yeah.
child, and then he married your mom after.
What do you say?
What?
Like, because my understanding was that my mom, oh wait, no, I guess that doesn't work. I guess I was thinking like when the whole I accidentally was distracted and you almost died situation, that my mom was still alive, otherwise the king would
No.
right away. So then I was thinking, oh, then you would have been like born out of wedlock, and then
Right.
I did that,
Yeah.
and then my mom died, and then he married your mom.
No, and that's definitely not what happened. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. You know, you had two different legitimate wives, and he was just like tolerating you for a while, Ophelia, before the you pushing Avra into the river was like the
Push her in the river.
you got her, whatever. You're responsible.
We were playing by the river or like
Yeah.
on a bridge or something, and I left her side, and she's a little 5-year-old because
Yeah.
I found an orchid and she fell in and I wasn't paying attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Push her in. I wasn't the devil yet.
Yes.
This is your first step.
So then,
Yeah.
is Avra's mom still alive, or has she died?
No, she also died, but I think from
Okay.
natural causes.
Okay. Okay. Now I have that straight in my head.
Basically, it was like the whole situation where your mom probably would have eventually done something that ticked your dad off because he's just a complete
Right.
jerk. But she died the hero before she became the villain, sort of a thing. And so now he has this perfect ideal picture of his second wife in his mind, and
Right,
loves you
yeah.
as a result, or at least did before he started getting you confused with
Yeah.
Ophelia.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
hmm
I don't know how Avra would react to this.
Like, would you be happy that you found me again, or would you be freaked out because I'm a witch?
I mean, I think she's mostly freaked out because you're just freaky. And also she wasn't sure if her sister was alive, but she had like barely begun to even look into it. And then you found her first.
Do you recognize the black orchid thing now?
I don't know. Would she? I mean, she's 5.
I think you did.
She was 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that image has been burned in your mind for a long time.
The true
Okay.
the one-
Okay. So maybe then she did have more of a hint that it was her sister because of the black orchids.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, yeah, just the black orchid. At the very least, in that moment, you had like a flashback, right, where you realized, oh, it's all connected, sort of thing, you know.
That's when you remembered it. Like, I don't think you would have thought of that
Maybe.
memory prior.
Yeah, that's probably a better way of looking at it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think that an intense moment of realization prompts a fit of coughing for her.
Oh no.
And she just kind of gets up and like walks a couple feet back and just kind of like coughs to herself.
What do you do, Ophelia? Alikos is like giving you a dead stare, Ophelia.
I feel like you should give him a treat.
You could try.
I think he might take my hand as his treat.
Maybe.
That's probably wise. I don't know. I like the idea in the future that my black orchid tea helps Avra's coughing
That
problem.
is such a good idea.
So I was
You
gonna
could
say,
definitely make a roll for that.
I don't have any tea with me though. Thermoses aren't a thing.
No.
So
Yeah, that's definitely an in the future thing, but that's something, yeah, for sure, for Ophelia to keep in mind.
I don't know. I feel like I cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Because this, I mean, I like Avra's the only person that I love anymore. And so I feel like I'm overwhelmed to see her because I haven't seen her in forever. And her coughing just reminds me like, oh yeah, that was my like me not paying attention. That is still like that moment is still affecting the one person that I love, and now she's coughing, and I made her cough, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like overwhelmed by everything. So I think I kind of start to cry a little bit.
So is there a moment where you guys kind of both lose it in separate places and then you try to get yourselves together?
Yeah.
And maybe Ophelia is like doing this in such a way where she's crying, but you guys are obviously still turned away from each other, sort of a thing.
Mhm.
I'm still, I think I'm still sitting exactly where I'm sitting. And then,
And you both have a little bit of an emotional breakdown, and then you kind of recover.
yeah. Would I let would I let Abra know that I was crying? It would depend on what your reaction would be. Like if you kind of clicked into this maternal thing, like, oh, she's just a person and you come over because you know I'm crying, or do I fully recover before you turn around so you never knew that I was crying? I don't know which is more
interesting.
I mean, I think it's more Ophelia to not let her see that you're crying.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I think for now it would be good for us to like see that you are, but that you're faced away from her, and so all Avra sees is just you're just continually faced away from her. So, I mean, yeah, does Avra like finish her coughing fit and then have something to say, or?
Good question.
I know, right? Like this is a very kind of intense scene. I mean, you could just ask like, "Why did you send for me?" If you didn't want to like deal with any of the ramifications of like, oh, my sister being still alive, you could just get right to the point.
Yeah, I think she just asks, why now? Why haven't you sent for me before?
And then I think I take a second to answer because I don't want my voice to be shaky from just crying. Not that I was like weeping, but it still kind of can mess your voice up. So I think I like take a couple breaths maybe, and then
yeah, and I think Avra's still like standing up, and now she's just like staring at your back, basically. Like I don't think she's going to sit down yet again.
Okay. Do I have my snake? Because he hides in my sleeve.
Up to you. That would probably freak her out even more, but
I don't want to do that. I think maybe I send Skion off because he's still there. So I think he was still on my shoulder or something, but I make him leave before I talk again, and then I was like bent over when I was crying, and so I like take in breaths, and then I move to like have my head up, and I just say like there's more going on now than you know, and there's more going on now than before, and like so like it like matters now that that you know I'm here for you.
Yeah, I think she takes a few steps forward, speaking, and she's just kind of like, do you mean about father? About his illness? I still haven't figured out what's going on with him.
I think I like at this point I've stopped playing with my knife, and she sees my whole body visibly tense because I hate my father. And kind of like that clenched jaw kind of talking. And it like drops even more, even though I was probably already talking deeply, but it's more like a growl thing now. And I'm just like, what did I say before? There's more going on. What did you say, Avra?
I just said, like, do you mean about father?
I think I say like, the world is bigger than father.
Nice.
Oh.
I think I say the world is bigger than your father because I don't think I want to even say that he's my father.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what she'd say because she wants to get her to help figure out what's going on with her dad.
I mean, maybe for now it's just seeing what she has in mind, and then you can maybe backtrack and get to that.
Yeah, so she probably just says, what do you mean?
I think at this point I try to control my visible anger. And
I see a vein in her neck.
yeah, just, so I sound less, filled with rage this time talking, and I just say like, you think that your father is the epicenter of all the goings on, but he's like an outlying effect, not the cause. Something like that. If that makes any sense.
Say it again.
I said, you think that, or I'll say the king. I say the king isn't the epicenter of the goings on. He's just an outlying effect, not a cause. Oh, and then I think I say, like, after a little bit, I think I say, like, it's all bigger than you, Avra. And so that's, this is good. I say, like, this is all bigger than you, and that's why I'm here now. And then I think I start to say, like, because I love you. And so I think I'll only get to, like, because and then I kind of stop. because I obviously don't want to concede that.
Yeah.
But you don't like say anything else to
To cover.
distract from that, because otherwise you're gonna be like, because you what?
Yeah, I think I start to say it, and then I kind of like hit the ground a little bit because I'm like sitting crisscross. So I think I like slam my palm on the ground, not like a ton, just like a little bit, and then and I like start gritting my teeth again, and then I just kind of like grunt out a little bit, like I want to help to make up for everything. Ophelia can be vulnerable.
Through gritted teeth.
Gritted teeth, grunted vulnerability.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think Avra goes and sits down next to her again.
Oh.
But you said like a proper lady.
And I'm over here just like, ah.
Yeah, I don't know if she
thought something that would be so cute is that if when we were younger, we had like a piece of hair. Do you remember I was telling you about how I used to braid my hair right here when I was younger? If we had that chunk of hair right here, and we like made beads of some kind, and had like one of those, not a dreadlock, but one of those like
rat tail.
No, it's like a clump of hair that's like together with those like pretty metal beads around it that we had like made when we were little.
Just a braid.
Yeah, and we had like maintained that, or maybe I just did, or something. Like that. How you feel about that idea? But then that would prove that I'm actually your sister, not a faker.
I mean, I feel like she believes it at this point, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if Avra would say anything, because like she's kind of just like, okay, well, apparently things are bigger than the king, but
yeah, like I feel like at this point, I feel like he needs
like,
to get
it's
to the
up to you to
point.
explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I talk about the whole? Like, is this where I should kind of talk about the reason why I wanted to really talk to her? With the whole like marriage thing?
Yeah.
Like, should I bring that up now, or should we wait for that, like another meeting or something? Like, am I just trying to have a relationship with her right now?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Why I was avoiding that is because I think Ophelia like legitimately misses Avra a lot, and she just kind of wants to have some sister time, so she's trying to kind of stay away from the other stuff.
Okay.
That's kind of why I was being super ambiguous.
Right, sure. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, we should just kind of figure out. Go ahead. What?
Like, maybe I tell Avra that. Because it kind of feels like Avra's getting frustrated that I'm not telling her anything, really.
Yeah.
And so maybe I kind of break a little bit, and I'm just like, I haven't seen you in like almost 20 years. Like, how unheard of is it for me to just want to like get to know my only family?
I mean, is that a roll, Avra?
I mean, no, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think of how Avra would respond. I'm kind of thinking she like very sheepishly and delicately like puts her arm around her. And just kind of like doesn't really say much. Because she's like, I'm still kind of uncomfy. Like, this is awkward.
Yeah, I mean, do we just cut the scene there? Like, they do have some like catching up to do, and the next time maybe there'll be a meeting where you kind of get down to brass tacks.
I'm not sure I would stay after that. I think that would overwhelm me and I'd want to leave.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I know I'm getting really vulnerable and my whole, like, I'm a big, strong girl. That whole thing is like shattered.
Yeah. I mean, do you basically just like get up and then like tell her like maybe almost like you know you're facing away from her and you like look back like this and just say it quickly like, you know, we'll meet again soon or something like that, right? And then just like leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Ophelia, you're so messed up.
I actually tell her I love her after that. I think I stand up, like she touches me and I kind of like jump a little bit because I literally haven't been touched by anybody in like 20 years. Oh wait, no, I had a kid.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I haven't been touched in a while.
You haven't had a lot of meaningful human contact in
Right.
a while.
And so then it's like too much. And so I stand up, and like, I think I whistle. So Skion comes back and then,
Lands on your shoulder. Yeah.
yeah. And then, yeah, I turn around and I say like, hold on to that stone. And, like Skion will check on you soon. And then I pull a piece of like dried meat out of my pocket and toss it to her bird. I can't remember his name.
Alikos.
Alikos.
Yeah. And then I take a couple more steps. I turn around. I look her dead in the eyes and say, I love you. And then I'm just out of here.
How do you disappear?
Well, I don't like poof disappear. I just
disappear around the rock outcropping.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm gone. I walk away.
How do you respond to that, Avra?
I mean, I think she kind of like looks down at the rock in her hand and she's just like, did that just happen? Like, what the heck is going on?
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I mean, let's call that scene there, and then let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back and find out what Alpheus and Cyrillus have been up to while the two sisters have been having a heart-to-heart. All right, we'll be back with more Death Unto Madness right after this. Stick around.